What if love was born from the rain, between a man and a creature not of this world? When Tun splashed water on a mysterious woman, he never knew it would change everything. But as their love deepens, something terrifying rises from the deep. What will happen when the sea comes for her? Watch till the end. Tun never believed in myths. Growing up in Abuja, his world was built on logic, business plans, and deadlines. Magic was for movies, and mermaids belonged in children's storybooks. But everything he thought he knew about reality shattered the night rain washed her into his life. Her name was Neria, though Tund wouldn't learn that until much later. Far beneath the Atlantic, beyond where sunlight could touch, Neria was born in the hidden city of Thalassia, a kingdom of merfolk bound by ancient laws. And the oldest law of all was this: no mermaid must ever set foot on land. But Neria had broken that law. The sea had grown restless, poisoned by greed and pollution from the surface world. The tides whispered of doom, and the coral cities began to wither. As the youngest daughter of the Sea King, Neria was chosen for a dangerous mission, to walk among humans, find the one whose heart was pure enough to awaken the tide bond, an ancient bond between sea and land that could save both worlds. It was supposed to be simple. Find the chosen one. Awaken the bond. Return home. But fate had other plans. One rainy evening in Abuja, Tund was behind the wheel of his black SUV, rushing home from a long day at the company where he worked as a civil engineer. His mind was elsewhere, on a promotion he might lose, a loan he couldn't repay, and a lonely apartment that had long stopped feeling like home. Up ahead, on the dimly lit roadside near Jabi Lake, a young woman stood barefoot, staring at the rain with eyes too bright for the darkness around her. She seemed lost, out of place, and yet, strangely at peace. Tun didn't see her until it was too late. His tires sliced through a deep puddle, sending a cold wave splashing over her delicate figure. She stumbled backward, gasping as the water touched her skin, and then something impossible happened. Her legs shimmered, scales flickered beneath her soaked dress, and a faint glow pulsed along her veins. What the? Tun slammed the brakes and leapt from his car. She collapsed on the wet ground, breathing hard. And there, in the middle of the Abuja rain, Tun stared at something his mind refused to believe, a pair of silver-blue fins struggling to vanish. "Don't be afraid," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's only temporary. I wasn't meant to reveal myself like this." "Reveal yourself," he stammered, kneeling beside her. "Who are you?" Her lips curved into a sad smile. "Someone who's not supposed to be here." From that night on, Tun's life changed forever. He took her in, hid her from the curious eyes of neighbors, and slowly, over days that turned into weeks, she revealed her story. She spoke of a dying ocean, of prophecies and bonds, of a love that could bridge two worlds. At first, Tun thought it was madness. But every time he looked into her eyes, deep and endless like the sea itself, his doubt melted away. They were drawn to each other like tides to the moon. She was everything he never believed in. And he was everything she was forbidden to love. Yet, love grew between them, quietly, fiercely, and against all odds. She taught him to listen to the whispers of the rain. He taught her to laugh under the city lights. And though they both knew her time on land was running out, neither could imagine a future apart. But destiny is never kind to love like theirs. And far beneath the surface, something ancient had awoken, something determined to drag Neria back home, even if it meant destroying the world above. The morning after the storm, Abuja's streets were washed clean, but Tun's life was messier than ever. Neria sat by the window of his small apartment, gazing at the rain-soaked skyline with a longing that made his heart ache. She looked human enough, her legs had returned overnight, but every now and then, when sunlight touched her skin, faint silver patterns shimmered beneath the surface. "Do you miss it?" he asked gently, setting a cup of tea beside her. Her lips curved into a wistful smile. "Every heartbeat," she whispered. "The sea isn't just home, Tund. It's part of who I am. Up here, everything feels heavy. Time feels slower. And my people," her voice cracked slightly. "They think I betrayed them." Tund sat beside her, his hand brushing hers. "You didn't betray them. You're trying to save them." Her eyes met his, deep, endless, and impossibly sad. "I wasn't supposed to feel this," she confessed. The tide bond is meant to awaken through duty, not love. But now? Now, he asked, holding his breath. Now I'm not sure if I want to go back. The words hung between them like a fragile secret neither dared to break. Tun's heart raced. He knew it was wrong, selfish, even, but he didn't care. He wanted her here. With him. Always. Over the weeks that followed, their bond deepened. They walked the bustling streets of Was at night, sharing roasted corn and laughter. He took her to the art galleries in Maitama, where she stared at paintings of oceans with tear-filled eyes. And on quiet nights, they lay on his rooftop, watching the stars as she told him stories of sea kingdoms and forgotten gods. But the closer they grew, the more Neria's body began to change. It started subtly, a flicker of scales along her ankles, a soft humming sound in her chest when she slept. Then, one night, she woke screaming, her eyes glowing like the deep sea, her voice trembling as she whispered a single word. "They found me." Tun jolted awake. "Who? What's happening?" "They sent the tide hunters," she gasped, gripping his shirt. "Guardians of the deep. If they find me, they'll drag me back, and they'll erase every memory of me from your mind." "Erase my memory?" His heart thundered in his chest. "No. I'm not letting them take you." Her tears sparkled like salt water. "You don't understand. They can't be stopped. And if you stand in their way, they'll kill you." But Tund wasn't listening anymore. He had spent his entire life searching for purpose, for something, someone, worth fighting for. And now, he had found it. "Then they'll have to go through me," he said firmly, pulling her into his arms. "I don't care if they're gods or monsters. I love you, Neria. And I'm not losing you." For a moment, the world went still. Rain pattered softly against the glass. Her heartbeat trembled against his chest. And for the first time since she'd left the ocean, Neria allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, love was powerful enough to defy destiny. But deep beneath the city, in the cold waters of the Niger Delta, three shadows were rising, ancient, merciless, and closer with every heartbeat. They were coming for her. And time was running out. The night they came was darker than any storm Abuja had ever known. It began with a tremor, faint, almost unnoticeable, that rippled through the floor of Tun's apartment. Then the lights flickered. The air grew colder, damp, heavy with a scent that didn't belong on land, a salt-soaked breeze that tasted like the bottom of the ocean. Neria jolted upright from where she lay resting on the couch. Her pupils thinned to slits, her breath trembling. "They're here," she whispered. Before Tund could speak, the windows exploded inward, not from wind or rain, but from pressure, as if the sea itself had punched through the glass. A blast of icy water flooded the room, swirling unnaturally in the air. And from within it, they stepped out, three figures cloaked in mist and scales, their eyes glowing like deep-sea embers. Tidebreaker Neria, the tallest one, boomed, his voice echoing like a wave crashing against rocks. "By decree of the Sea King, you are commanded to return." Neria staggered backward, shaking her head. "No, not yet. The tide bond isn't complete. I haven't." Silence. The second figure, her voice cold and sharp as coral, raised a trident that hummed with ancient power. "You broke sacred law. You revealed yourself to a human. You fell in love with him. You have brought shame upon our realm." Tun stepped in front of her before he even realized what he was doing. "You're not taking her." The three turned their gaze toward him, almost amused. "And what is a land dweller?" sneered the third, "to stand before the forces of the deep?" "Someone who loves her," Tun said, his voice steady. "And someone who won't let you hurt her." A hush fell over the room, a silence so deep it seemed even the rain outside stopped to listen. Then the leader stepped forward, lowering his trident slightly. "Then you, human," he said, "will share her fate." Before Tund could react, the floor beneath his feet turned to water. It surged upward, wrapping around his legs, pulling him toward a swirling vortex that had appeared in the middle of the room, a portal of dark, churning sea. Neria screamed and grabbed his arm, her fingers slipping as the water dragged him closer. "Let him go," she cried. "It's me you want." "His fate is sealed by your choice," the tide hunter hissed. "The tide bond is already forming. And now, both of you must answer for it." Tund felt his strength fading as the vortex pulled harder. The room blurred, water, light, darkness spinning together. And just before he was swallowed whole, Neria pressed her forehead to his and whispered, trembling, "Don't be afraid. Whatever happens next, I'll find you." Then the world vanished. When Tund opened his eyes, he wasn't in his apartment anymore. The air was heavy, liquid, impossible to breathe, yet somehow he could. Above him stretched an endless canopy of shifting blue light. Beneath him, a city of coral towers glowed like stars beneath the waves. He was underwater. And somewhere in that vast, alien kingdom, the woman he loved was being taken deeper, toward a destiny neither of them could escape. Tund's lungs burned as he drifted deeper into the watery abyss, yet to his shock, he could breathe. Every breath felt strange, heavy with the taste of salt and magic. Below him stretched Thalasha, the legendary city Neria had spoken of, towers carved from glowing coral, bridges spun from silver kelp, and streets lit by luminous fish swirling in patterns like constellations. It was beautiful, and terrifying. Guards surrounded him, their spears tipped with glistening pearls that pulsed with power. They dragged him through the gates and into a vast hall that shimmered with a light that seemed to come from the water itself. At its center sat the Sea King, Neria's father, his eyes ancient and unreadable. "You are the reason she has broken our laws," the king said, his voice thundering like distant waves. "And for that, you will suffer the consequences." "Father, please," Neria cried, breaking free from her captors. "He's not the enemy. He's the answer. Answer." The king's trident struck the ground, sending ripples through the water. "He is a weakness." "No," she whispered, swimming toward Tund and clutching his hand. "He is love. And love is stronger than any current, any tide, any law." The hall fell silent. The Sea King's gaze shifted between them, the human and the mermaid who dared defy the boundary between two worlds. Slowly, the anger in his eyes softened, replaced by something like sorrow. "Then so be it," he said at last. "If the bond is true, the seas will accept it. If not, both of you will perish." A sudden glow burst from where their hands touched, bright, pure, and blinding. The water trembled. The coral walls shone like the sun. And then, a surge of energy rippled through Thalasha, warm, alive, healing. For the first time in centuries, the poisoned waters began to clear. The prophecy was fulfilled. The tide bond was real. And it was born from their love. The Sea King stepped down from his throne, his voice gentler now. "You have done what none of us believed possible. You have united the two worlds." He turned to Tund. "The choice is yours, mortal. Return to the surface, or stay beneath the waves, forever." Tund looked at Neria, the girl who had changed his world with one splash of water, and smiled. "Wherever you are," he said, "that's where I belong." And so, he stayed. A human among merfolk. A bridge between land and sea. And every night, as the moonlight danced across the ocean's surface, two souls swam side by side, proof that love knows no boundaries, not even between worlds. Now it's your turn. What would you have chosen if you were Tund? Would you stay under the sea with the one you love, or return to the surface and let her go?